what discourages you, what encourages you about the state of racial justice?
There's so much out there, so I'm going to narrow my sliver to what I've seen inside the church. And I think one of the most discouraging things has been the lack of a voice from some of the theological heavy hitters. So guys that have been known for years for their thoughtfulness when it comes to the authority of Scripture or apologetics or all of these things, guys that are known to be great thinkers and teachers of which we've learned so much from, to now to have this conversation that for years has been the predominant conversation, to kind of have a silence from these guys, and for them to say, yeah, well, I'm not really versed as much, or I don't engage, or I don't want to get. No, it's like, no, think about this stuff the way that you thought about all of that, and write, and don't, we don't want, there's sometimes that it just kind of feels like, here we go, we're by ourselves again, and we've just got to, do what's best for us. And so it just makes it hard. I think that's been probably one of the most discouraging things.
In the midst of that, what encourages you about the state of racial justice?
So I think what I shared, this is kind of the flip side to that coin, is that I have seen certain guys who were some of the theological big hitters kind of step back and be very vocal, but taking the posture of a student. And so that's been dope and encouraging, just to see guys who say, hey, I don't know, but I'm not just going to sit and be silent, nor am I going to rush to say something, but I'm going to take the chance. I'm really going to sit down, ask tons of questions. Learn, read, right? Case in point, we've got a guy that just joined our church, moved down into the hood, the southwest side of Atlanta, 63-year-old retired pastor from Greenville, South Carolina. We're in church one day and we sit and we have a prayer meeting, right? So we bring him up and just ask how we can pray for him. This guy is a relentless evangelist to the point where our church that's in the hood, he brings some of the most questionable folks to church. And he comes up one day and he's like, yeah, I really wanted to move here just because I really had a heart to serve. The Black family, it's in trouble, and we want to come and just give our lives to that. So, you have the white folks that are part of our church sitting and applauding, and then you have all the Black folks that are part of our church just very frustrated because they're like, see, this is it. Folks come in and they want on a save. So we sat and talked to this guy who, could be my grandpa, and just sat and shared with him, hey, I know that you meant wrong. You didn't mean wrong. This is how it came off. Read this book and let's sit and talk. And he joyfully read it with one of our other pastors and came back the next day, and it's like, hey, I've worked through half of the book. I'd love to talk. I'll be done with it by the end of the day. And so that's a posture that I've seen that's been so encouraging. So,
what book did you recommend to him?
Okay.
And what other books would you recommend for, so this is stirring up conversation. Yeah. And I have conversations all the time, and it always, some are more enlightening, some are more frustrating. Yeah. But when it comes to resources like that, I'd love to know, what book did you hand him? Yeah. Why? Yeah. And what did it address? Yeah. And then what are some other resources you would recommend for specifically dominant culture that's being smacked in the face with this? Great. However, we need to, what does it look like to start to tear down those walls?
Yeah. So the book that we gave him was Between the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates. Don't agree with all of the stuff that he says, but it's a great introduction. And that was just, his eyes flung wide open. The New Jim Crow has been a good one as well. And from that standpoint, I'm not even widely read on all of these things, but those are just two good resources that can start a great conversation just about, and just getting folks on the same page. Like, let's at least get, I heard a guy say, every meaningful conversation has to start with definitions. So let's just use those. Let's get some definitions so that when we use the same words, we mean the same thing. And then once we build that foundation, then let's start to build and talk about things that we agree or disagree with. But it's futile to have a conversation where definitions are arbitrary.